أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Life is three-dimensional. There are three dimensions to life. A person who doesn't understand life is not living it. If he doesn't live it, then he doesn't know where faith fits in his life. Or what does faith and Iman have to do with his life. He just gets the outward pleasure, not the inner spirit of the deen. He just gets the outward taste. For example, he gets the taste of the greatness of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He just tastes it. He doesn't really get to experience it. Why? Because of the fact that he doesn't know where Imam Ali fits in his life. What does Imam Ali have to do with my life? What's his role in my life? And hence we admire Imam Ali because he is amazing. He is admirable. And hence we admire him. But we don't know where he fits in our life because we don't know what life is. And a person who stands and gets to know what life is, then truly will see the place that Imam has in our life. Why did Allah establish Imamat? Why did Allah send an Imam? Why did Allah brought him to us? And a lot of people just look at the outward answers and they are happy with that, to enforce the laws of Allah. Really, is that it? Why was Imam Ali placed as the Imam and Khalifa and Wali by Allah? We know that he is appointed by Allah and Allah has done it, and Allah does not do anything in vain. There is wisdom behind his action. So why did he do that for? Because we don't know what life is, we don't know where Imam Ali fits in our life. And because of that, we never get the full benefit of having a relationship with Imam Ali. We don't get that. And that's why the people who understand life are the ones who actually gain benefit of that. They truly have the pleasure of knowing that this is why Ali is in my life. This is what it's about. And hence, then you will see that, yes, why should I believe in Imam Ali? Why should I love him? Why should I adore him? Why should I hold on to him? Why should I follow him? Why should I make all my resolutions in every time that I make it, in every New Year's that I make it? Why should I always have Imam Ali before me? What is the answer to that? Oh, he's our Imam. What does that mean in your life? Tell me. What is the meaning of that? This is why we are learning about life. What is life? We're learning because of this reason, that I want to know where this faith fits into my life. And the only way I can know that is if I know what life is. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, if you all can get settled down, then we can start off, and what we are discussing about. And we are discussing about height. We discuss about the length. And I think there's, enough explanation and people understand that we're living forever. And the only thing regarding that is we need to believe that we're living forever. We don't believe that. We think that we're going to die and become dust and that's it. Nothing's going to happen and I am a miserable person and I will die miserably and there's nothing to expect after that. This all just smells really bad. But that's the way it is. People live their life like that. And it's unfortunate. Really, life is much better than that. It's greater than that. And the fact is that the first characteristic of life is that it is forever. It is never ending. Number one. The second thing is regarding the height of life, and that's what we are discussing. What is the height of life? How high can we go? That is the idea. And this is up to us. What we make of ourselves. The greatness that we reach. Whatever you do here in this world, in this life, has a huge effect in your actual life. And that's the idea behind it. What is it that we can do here to cause the greatest lift, the greatest jump, the greatest leap in the everlasting life that we have? And if a person understands that, then he will get involved in that more than anything else. So the number one thing that we see that is above everything, there are levels of things that, for example, has points. For example, if this is a game, which it is, when Allah says that the life of this world is a game, it's an ayat of the Quran. Right? وَمَا هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ. The life of this world is nothing but a game. Treated like a game, like cricket. Treated like that. You know? Yes. Some people, they play 20-20. Some people play one day, and some people play a test match. Right? Depending on how long they live here. But all of them have certain rules and certain excitement. Life is just like a game. That's what Allah is saying. When you play a game, why do human beings come up with games? Do you imagine that we made these games, right? Cricket, basketball, all these games, we made it ourselves. Why did we make it? My friends, because it depicts life. It's natural for us to make games. But the problem is that we make these games, but we forget the actual game, which is called life. Life is actually a game. Allah says it. Treat it like a game. Don't take it seriously. Treat it like a game. Now, game has rules in it. When you look at a game, it has rules. It has certain etiquette, certain manners, how you approach it. And it's just like that. When you look at life, it's the same way. It is like a game that we are playing here. Just like a game, when you look at it, you see that there are points. For example, if you hit the ball and run between the wickets, it's 1 run. 2 times is 2 runs. If you hit a grounder over the boundary, it's 4 runs. If you hit it over the fence, it's 6 runs. You see, every action has a different score. Just like in basketball, for example. There's a free throw that's 1 point. Then there you shoot a volley, it is 2 points. If you shoot a 3-pointer, and then what's the largest you can score in basketball? It's not important. But the important thing is that, there is different points and different reward for different actions. Some actions are worth more than others. Just like in life, some things are worth more than others. Prayer has its value. Fasting has its value. Reading the Quran has value. Namaz-e-shab has value. All these values are different. And each of these things is lifting us up in our actual life, giving us a place in our life. They are building us in our life, making a height for us, making us go higher in life. Now, when we start to do these things, obviously, an intelligent person, a smart person now thinks, okay, since I have a limited amount of life, let me spend the life that I have doing the things that gets me the most height out of my life, the most reward, the most elevation, helps me reach the most height. That is intelligent, right? I mean, isn't that the one you say? I mean, really, I'm so out of touch with games right now because I haven't watched these games for a long time, right? But for example, right? You have a player. I mean, I remember like Huddasar Alisha, right? Now that guy is a defensive player. That's tuck, tuck, tuck. He'll play 100 balls and score 3 runs, right? Right? I'm sorry. Right? Whatever. I can't even remember the name. And then you have Afridi, for example. Shahid Afridi. He goes there, he plays 6 balls and scores 30 runs. Right? So now, this is an example of people living their life. Some people live a short life, but they achieve a lot more. Some people live a long life and achieve very little. So it's not how much you play, it's how much you achieve for the time that you had. How much did you achieve the time you have? Allah is not going to take your final score. He's going to take the average you scored with. That is your height. What was the average that you were scoring every day? Not that, okay, you know what, I had 100 years, so I got to pray, 40 years more than the guy who lived 60 years. That's not how Allah looks at it. Allah will say, okay, you had 5 years. How much did you score in 5 years? That average is more important than your aggregate at the end. People who live their life, they need to improve their average. Yes, you can say that, you know what, I can live a longer life. I'm living a healthy life and a longer life. And you are scoring slowly. And at the end, I'll get more points than this guy. But the issue is that that's not how the total is counted in reality. When Allah is going to judge you, He's not going to judge you how much did you score at the end. He's going to judge you on your average. What was your average score? So now, tell me, if that is the case, if that's how Allah judges, and if that's how life should be lived, then should we be doing the things that get the most for us in the shortest time possible? And that's what we want to discuss. What are those things that bring about the greatest reward for the least amount of time spent on it? And that's why you see when Allah speaks of them, Hadith speaks of them, you see that difference in places. Sometimes it says, Afdalul Amal. The best actions are what? When you look at it, simply, I explained it yesterday, I don't want to go into detail of that. Simply said, anything that is done individually has less reward than things that are done socially. Just keep that as a principle in mind. So if you are going to pray alone in the house, that's worth less than if you pray in Jamaat. If you, for example, want to do something good alone, is worth less when you want to encourage others and bring people to do it together. Anytime when social activity is done, it has a greater reward. And that's why, for example, jihad has greater heights than fasting does. Fasting doesn't lead to shahadat, unless, of course, you eat a lot of iftar and go to sleep. And so it happens, right? A lot of people in Ramadan, after iftar, it's hard to give a speech, Before iftar, it's hard to give a speech because everyone's worried about food. And after iftar, they ate too much, So it's very difficult when to get the right audience. But it's okay. So what happens is that when you actually see it, you will see that jihad has more effort. Why? Because jihad is a social thing. Allah, He kept jihad to do what? To defend deen. What is the definition of jihad? Jihad is something that you do in return for the salvation that Allah has promised you. He promised you salvation and Jannat in Akhirat, and you promise Him defense of His religion in this life. And from there jihad comes. Why am I doing jihad? Because of the fact that it's my duty to defend Allah's deen. That's why. Amr bil Maruf, Nahi al Munkar, the same thing. I do it. And this is a social obligation. It's not an individual obligation. We all have to do it. You know, we as a community have to do it. This is an obligation on all of us. Tawalla and tabarra, same thing. And that's the height. The greatest height is reached through tawalla and tabarra. That's why Allah kept it at the end. He says, you know, those who really want to go high, then this is the place to go. Greater than jihad, greater than amr bil ma'ruf nahi al munkar is the height that a person can reach with tawalla and tabarra. Greater than all of that. That's why it is said that the greatest action is the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt, the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The greatest single action that you can do. And that doesn't mean, you know, that, for example, we say, I love you, Imam Ali. No, that's not the meaning of wilayat. That's not the meaning of wilayat. You know, wilayat is completely, for example, you know, what is wilayat? That's a whole different topic. I don't want to talk about that right now. But I'm saying the highest idea is tawalla. Tawalla means what? Establishing wilayat. Tabarra means what? Distancing yourself from anything that is not wilayat of Ali. Distancing yourself from that. Saying, I have nothing to do with this. So, two things. The greatest rewards are in that, and the greatest harm is also in that. The greatest harm that you can cause yourself is when you make yourself closer to dhulm, to anti-wilayat. Now let me explain that to you. These two things we want to understand, because people ask me, you know, and it's the right question to ask because it's a natural question. What are the things that we can do that we can get the greatest reward? That we can do the single most thing we can do that we can get the most out of it. So that's what I want to explain in a few minutes so that you understand it really well why it's important. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, when you look at, for example, the word of Allah, Allah speaks about it in the Quran and says, regarding zalim, regarding oppressors, Allah says, La tarkanu ila alladhina zalamu. He says, do not even incline towards those who do dhulm. Those who do dhulm, oppress, do not even incline towards them. In hadith we have that if you help a zalim by even getting him a brush or a broom to help him do his objective, then you have the same adhab as that zalim. The same adhab. Nothing different. You have the same adhab as that zalim. Why? La tarkanu. Tarkanu means don't even think of getting closer to them. Don't even incline yourself. Don't even think that I'm going to get close to this zalim, you know, or anything like that. Just even in that sense. We have hadith that says that if a zalim wants to give you a medal of honor, reject it. If you accept it, then you will be placed in the same place in Jahannam as that zalim. So if he wants to give you a medal of honor, say, I'm sorry, I cannot take it from you. I don't want it from you. I don't want it from you. I don't want a reward from you. I don't want any accolade from you. I don't want any applause from you. I don't want it from you. Wow. I mean, if you look at it, right, why is it? Because if a person does that, then you know what? This is the greatest harm he can cause in his actual life. In his actual life. Now, my friends, on the other hand, right, when you look at wilayat, what is it? When you see the single most important action that you can do in this life is support the wilayat of Ali and Ahlul Bayt. If you put one brick to establish their wilayat, then that is worth more than any prayer that you can make. Any prayer that you can make. Now, let me translate that simply, because there's levels of that, right? How can you put a brick? For example, let's see this, right? Someone who gives sadaqah to the poor, there's a reward for that. In fact, it is certain you'll get reward. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam has said that when you give charity to the poor, until that charity doesn't reach the poor, the intended poor, then Allah is going to keep it protected and will look after it and make sure that it reaches there. And based on this hadith is how we wear Imam Zamin. We all wear Imam Zamin, right? What is it for? Because the hadith says that until it doesn't reaches the intended receiver, anyone who has it will be protected. So if you wear it and take it anywhere, then Allah's job is to protect that. And because you're carrying it, He's going to protect you until you reach that place and you give it to the receiver. Who's getting it? This is the principle behind it. And that's why when you actually give it, it is protected. It's certain that you are going to be protected by that. And you'll get the reward for it. But you know what? Giving to the poor is one thing, but giving to the imam is another thing. This has a lot more reward. This has a lot more reward, my friends. When you give something to the imam, not the poor, but the imam, and his cause, and his path, and the things that help his cause, you see the reward is a lot greater. Much greater than anything that you can imagine. It falls under the umbrella of Hal min nasirin yansuruna. Is there anyone to help me? Imam is asking for help. Is there anyone who can help me? Who will give towards me? It falls under that category. Imam Hussein didn't say, is there anyone who will help the fuqara of Islam and the poor people of Islam? He says, anyone who will help me. My friends, $1 that is spent on the center is worth a lot more than that is spent on poor people. Because this is establishing Imam's wilayat. A brick that is put in a masjid that is for Ahlul Bayt has more reward than anything else, because this is establishing the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt. This is what it's about. If you want to do the greatest thing, then here is. You have to now support the wilayat and increase the assets and increase the power of Imam al-Zamana while he's in ghaibat. And anything that goes to establish his government is the greatest action that a person can do. That's why those who learn Islam and propagate it have the greatest level of achievement. It is said in hadith that when the blood of the shuhada is compared with the ink of the scholars, the blood falls pale in front of the ink. It pales in front of it. That's how much it's worth. Why? Because this is what's establishing the wilayat of our Imam. We'll come to that. The fact that, why wasn't Imam Ali supported? Why was it that the only person supporting Imam Ali is Fatima? Why aren't others there? All believers and Shias and all these things that were there with Imam Ali, they saw him, they lived with him, they saw Rasulullah live with him, they heard Rasulullah. Not only that, they lived with Imam Ali, they broke bread with him, they ate iftar with him, and yet they refused to support him. Why? Were they not Shias? No, they were Shias. In Imam Hassan's time, why was he left alone? Were they not Shias? Yes, they were Shias. Imam Hussein, why was he left alone? All these people who joined Imam Hussein when he was going towards Karbala, and when they saw the army coming, they all ran away. Why did they leave him alone? Were they not Shias? Yes, they were Shias. So the issue is that, you know what? They were Shias, but they, again, the life that they were leading was miscalculated. People who live life incorrectly cannot stand with the Imam. They will eventually run away. They will eventually abandon him and run away. You cannot stand with the Imam. It's too not hard. Send the salawats. You know, because really, tonight, being the Shahadat of Imam Ali, I want to give this important message, right? That is about life and about our height. And really, this is something that if you want to get a summary of what is the height of our life and what achievement we can make, it's here. If you put what I'm saying and you can summarize what I'm saying, you will see that spirituality, irfan, spirituality, development, spiritual development is in what aspect of Islam? You will see that it is in only one thing where you get the greatest growth, and it's called politics. It's called politics. Politics is the greatest spirituality that you can ever have. The person who's the most spiritual amongst us is the one who's the most political amongst us. Every Shia was there with Imam Ali, but Malik Ashtar was different. Not because he prayed more, because he was political. He knew how to stand with Imam Ali, and he knew how to stand against those who oppose him. That's what made him great. The people who stood with Imam Hussein, why were they there? Because of their prayer? Because of their du'as? No, had nothing to do with that. They were politically savvy. They knew politics, and they knew what's right and wrong, and they knew how to stand with the right and oppose the wrong. That's what is important. The people who achieve the greatest achievement in Akhirat are the ones who are involved in politics. If you see one moment who is very spiritual and praying all the time, and another moment who's involved in politics, in trying to establish Imam's deen, in opposing things that are not with the Imam, then you know that this person has a higher place in Jannah than this person. That's how you know the difference. Who is greater in the eyes of the Imam? The one who's more involved in politics. That's why Allah, when He speaks in the Quran, He says, why did He send the Anbiya? In Surah Hadid, He says, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعْهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانِ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسَ بِالْقِسْطِ. He says, we sent down the prophets and we revealed the revelations and books to do what? In order to establish justice amongst the people. That's why we send them for. That's the purpose. If you help out in this, then that's the greatest achievement you can make in Akhirat. Person who does one thing that is political, you will see that it's such a boon in your Akhirat that you will be shocked at that person. You know, why was Abul Fazl al-Abbas greater than all the other Shuhada with Imam Hussein? Because he knew how to stand with Imam Hussein and how to oppose and neutralize his enemies better than anyone else. He knew what it means to stand with Imam Hussein and how to neutralize his enemies. And really, it is amazing, you know, how much he knew that Imam Hussein, he himself says, Abbas, you know, when he saw Hazrat Abbas on the ground, lying on the ground, dying, Imam Hussein said, my back is broken now. It's not some sort of a empty statement he just said as a poem. No, it really is the heartfelt sentiment of Imam Hussein that he knew that this broke my back. Your death has broken my back. because I cannot find a supporter like you. There are bosses like that. Really, this is why we need to really start thinking, what is the greatest thing I can get involved in? Then here it is. Get involved. Be a part of the committees. Take responsibilities. I want to take responsibility. The people who, for example, out of shyness, stay in the back rows and don't want to come in the front rows, they're not being humble and more spiritual. That's the wrong way. Your whole excitement should be, I want to pray in the first line. Why shouldn't I pray in the first line? I want to get to the first line because I want to establish it. I want to strengthen the prayers. I want to strengthen Islam. This is the attitude that a person has. Sabiqun as-sabiqun, those who are ahead of everyone. This is the attitude you must have in order to reach greatness there. Your height in the hereafter and your real life depends on your actions here. And if you want to get the greatest gain, then this is what needs to get involved in. It's not easy. Yes, it's not easy. Cowards can't do it. Cowards can't do this. Well, so that doesn't mean that Islam is not for cowards. No, Islam is also for cowards. That's why Allah says you can still go to Jannat, you pray and you do, all of these other things, which is fine. Do that and alhamdulillah, you will get your reward for it. But to stand with Imam Hussein, you can't be a coward. You can't be a coward. A coward cannot do that. That is the strength that we need. Courage. Courage to say that, Imam Hussein, I don't want to be the one who just does matam for you. No, I want to establish your matam. I want to establish your azadari. People, for example, who are cowards want a larger crowd. Larger crowd because the azadari is good there, so let's go there. They're cowards. And you can hide there. Those who are courageous, they will go to places where there is no azadari and establish it there alone. These are the courageous people. The people that Imam Hussein needs. The people that Imam Mahdi needs. Are you that person? I hear it all the time, Inshallah for Ashura, we're going to Karachi, mashallah, azadari, there is all great this and that, Allah gave you a chance to establish it in a place where it's not. So you're losing that chance and you want to go there? Why? Really, selfish. If you were a little bit courageous and selfless, you will say, you know what? If I'm alone, I know, did you know that there are Shias in Alaska? And I know of one. He moved there from Milwaukee. He didn't know anyone there. He went there. And you know what? For the longest time, he was doing azadari in his house alone with his wife and kids. And I said, you're getting a lot more reward than any place else and anyone else in America. You're doing something that's special. And Allah gave you that chance. That's why the ulama says that, listen, don't go to the places of azadari where people are there. Go to the places that are gharib. Gharib means, that they don't have anyone to cry there. Go there and cry so that you can establish the crying. You can establish the azadari. These are the people who are true and getting the greatest reward. My friends, if Allah has given us that opportunity, it's amazing. We need to thank Allah and say, thank you for this opportunity you gave us so that we can establish your matam here. We can establish your deen here. I have that chance now. This is courage. And that's what is needed to gain the greatest rewards. This is called politics. Politics means establish Imam's wilayat. Where does it start? It starts right here in these little things here, right now. Doing these little things. And you will see that these little things will end up becoming the Imam's government one day. And we have that Allah will honor this. Allah will honor your efforts. You know how Allah will honor your efforts? You might think that, for example, you're doing a little job, but Allah will honor your efforts when the Imam will come back. You know what He will do? That every place where there is an Imam Barga established, a Hussainiya established, in the remembrance of Ahlul Bayt, Allah will make that the capital of Imam's government. Eventually, this is going to become a place where the Imam's government is going to be run from. Everyone will have to come here to this place. Because if the government is run and you need license and permits and this and that, it has to be given from here. Everything goes through here. And Allah will make everyone come towards it. This is Allah's promise. Subhanallah. Now you see where you can get involved. And I want you to see that. What can you do to make the best out of your akhirat? Then this is it. That's it, my friends, for today. You know, I told you that, you know what, there is, sometimes it is, things are just looking, when you actually see where it starts and where it ends, it's amazing. I told you that Hazrat Abbas was very important for Imam Hussain. But sometimes we don't realize how important. We don't realize how important was Abbas for Imam Hussain. You know, let me get you ready. When our last Imam will come back, and when he will establish himself, and there will be millions and millions of Shias who are going to come from everywhere to join him. Hordes and hordes, armies and armies of Shias will come with the flag, with the alam in their hand. In droves, groups and groups will come in different languages, from different backgrounds. And they will crowd around Imam Mahdi. Huge crowd of millions and millions. As far as you can see, you will see a sea of humanity. Imagine Arba'in right now in Karbala, with millions of people like that, and Imam Mahdi standing in between it. Wouldn't that be a comfort for our Imam? Wouldn't that be a sight that will make our Imam happy? That yes, the efforts of Abba Abdullah al-Hussein have led to this. Subhanallah, what a great achievement. You know, I mean, Imam would be so happy. And Imam will stand in the middle of that huge crowd, and he will be looking at this crowd, and everyone will be saying, Labbaika ya Mahdi, Labbaika ya Mahdi. Everyone will be saying that. And Imam will be listening, and they all think that, you know what, this is such a great pleasure that we all are here to support the Imam, give our lives for the Imam. But the Imam will have a certain sort of sadness in him. It's not a sadness. It's like something is missing. Something is empty. You know when something is not right and you're like, okay, everything is good except for one thing, let's say. You know, if you, for example, you know, you come here and you see here and say that this is a center, and you come inside the center and you see everything looks great, everything is in place, this and that, but there's something missing, you know. Let's say the member is not here. You said, where's the member? You know, something is missing, right? Something important that is necessary is missing. So what happened is that when Imam Mahdi is going to come back, he will look at this huge crowd and he will feel sort of something is missing. Something is sad, you know, missing. And the people will see the Imam and they'll say that, Mawla, we are here for you. Master, we are here for you. What are you looking for? He says, I'm looking for something. And he will look around to see where it is. Where it is. He is looking around to see where it is. He says, Mawla, what are you looking for? We are here. We are all here to give our life for you. We are all here to give our life for you. So Imam will say, no, I'm looking. There's something that's missing. He says, but what is missing? I mean, all of us together, we're here. I mean, you should be happy now. You should be glad that we're all here. He says, no, something is missing. He says, what is that? He says, Abul Fazl Abbas is missing. Abul Fazl Abbas is missing. And everyone will say, but we're all here. You know, at that moment when he mentions that, then we will realize, all of us will realize that all of us millions put together are not equal to one Abul Fazl Abbas. We're not equal to one Abbas. Imagine how Imam Hussein felt in Karbala having Abbas by his side. You know, why do you think that Imam Ali had a special place for Abbas? Imam Ali had a special place for Abbas. You know, regarding Imam Ali, it is said that whenever Imam Ali, in relationship to Rasul Allah, when he would come into a gathering, that Rasul Allah, until Imam Ali is not there, would look at everyone equally. But when Imam Ali would come in the gathering, then Rasulullah would just stare at Imam Ali. He would just look at him. He will not look away from Imam Ali. And they asked him, how is this? They said, this is wrong. He says, but what can I do? Ali is something so special, I cannot take my eyes off him. You know, Abbas was the same to Imam Ali. When Abbas used to come into a gathering, anywhere, no matter where it is, Imam Ali would start staring at Abbas. He says, my Abbas, come here. Come close to me, my Abbas, come here. My friends, Imam Ali has been struck by the sword, with a poisonous sword that is now taking effect. They said that his color changed, his face changed many colors. At a moment's time, it was green, then it would turn blue, then it would turn red. As the effect of the poison is taking over his body, his face would be changing its color, and they would look at that, and Imam Ali would be wincing in pain. The pain is coming through his body and he's wincing through his pain. And everyone who looks at him sees that he's in pain but could not do anything about it. The doctor that time comes to see Imam Ali. And after looking at Imam Ali and after analyzing him, he comes to Imam Hassan and says, get ready and prepare for his last rites, because there's nothing that can save Ali now. The poison has grown in his brain and has gone to all over his body. There's nothing we can do now. It's finished. Imam Hassan didn't need to hear that. He already knew that. But when he heard that, he said, yes. And in that way, Imam Hassan just told everyone in the house, come here, come close and give your condolences and say your farewells to your father. Imam Ali, our father, is leaving us. Everyone comes around there. As the doctor walked out, there's a group of people standing outside Imam Ali's house who are not in the household. They're standing outside, a horde of people. They ask the doctor, what is it? What is it? How can we help Ali? How can we help Ali? He says, well, if you want to help him, then they should give him a little milk. Give him some milk and that will help him, but it will not cure him. It will help him to be at ease. That's all. The doctor just said this to the people there and he walked away. There were after that, a little bit after that, they saw that there's a line of children holding bowls with milk inside there who came to the house of Imam Ali. They said, what happened? What are you doing here with this? They said, we heard that milk will help Ali. We just came to bring this milk. He said, who are you? He said, we are the orphans that Ali used to help. Street children, orphans who had no one but Imam Ali, that Imam Ali used to go to and help them. When they heard that Ali is going to die and milk would help him, they brought milk to him and they were saying, give this to our master. Imam Hassan looked at that sight, tears falling from his eyes, and everyone who hears that and sees that. In the house, Imam Ali now is now lying on his deathbed, and everyone is around him. Imam Ali now starts to give his wasiyah to everyone and says, come close to me. And he tells that everyone, listen, after me, Hassan is going to be your imam. For everyone, Hassan is going to be your imam. And he tells everyone to give your hand in the hand of Hassan. Give your hand in the hand of Hassan and look after him. He brings everyone forward, starts giving them their hands, and everyone was giving their hand to Imam Hassan. And everyone Imam Ali remembers by name. And then at the end they see that there's one person Imam Ali does not remember, and that is Abul Fazl al-Abbas. Abul Fazl al-Abbas is waiting for his father to just mention his name, but he doesn't mention his name. Ummul Baneen sees that Abul Fazl al-Abbas is depressed. He is unhappy that his father forgot him. He comes to Ali and says, Master Maula, Abul Hassan, how about Abbas? What about him? Ali says, you think I forgot Abbas? No, I haven't forgot Abbas. Abbas, come here, my dear, come here. I have a special mission for you. You have a special place for me. Abbas, come here. Give me your hand. Your hands are very important for me. These hands are precious, Abbas. I want to make sure these hands are given in the right way. He calls Hussein. He gives the hands of Hussein in Abbas's hand and said, Abbas, look after Hussein. Look after Hussein. This is Fatima's trust, Fatima's amanat. I have left him in your hand. Look after him. Never leave him. When Abbas, this is what happened. When Abbas defended Hussein and Hussein was shaheed and they came back, Imam Sajjad came back to Medina and they said that Hussein was killed in Karbala. So Ummul Baneen, when she heard that, she came out and said, tell me, is Hussein killed? Where was my son Abbas at that time? Where was my son Abbas? I will not forgive him. I will not forgive him. They said, no, Abbas wasn't there. He was killed. He says, what do you mean Abbas was killed? No one killed Abbas. He is the son of Hajar Karral. Imam Ali now is breathing his last. Everyone is around him. They're crying. But at one point, Imam Ali just tells everyone, listen, you don't see what I see. I see Rasulullah standing in front of me. I see Fatima Zahra. I'm going to your mother now. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا محمود بحق محمد، يا الله بحق علي، يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة، يا محسن بحق حسن، يا قديم الحسن بحق Hussein. Allah, give us the tawfiq to be on the right path. Give us the wisdom to understand your guidance. Hasten the reappearance of our Imam. Make us his helper when he comes. وآخر الدعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.